Here's a Jewish story. It could be maybe it's a Sephardic story. The Sephardim, a lot of the Sephardic tzaddikim, they have these really colorful, stories. But anyway, this is a story. It's a, what do you want to call it? A parable, an example. Once there was a man, a rich businessman, and he traveled from Poland. He was going to go to India to buy more precious stones. He stood to make a fortune of money. And so he took his little bag of, he took his bag of money that he had. He was going to go there and buy it. And the ship sunk. On the way, it was like a one month journey or something like that to wherever. And the ship sunk somewhere in the middle of some big ocean. And amazingly, he doesn't know what happened to other people, but he grabbed onto some sort of a floating box and he held onto it until a lifeboat came by, and it just, floating by, one of the boats that remained from the ship, and there was nobody inside of it, and he hoisted himself over, got inside, and covered himself over. There was some sort of a tarp or something like that, and there were some biscuits there, and he ate the biscuits, and it went to sleep. From the harrowing experience, got saved, and he was floating in the sea, and who knows how long, and then one day he woke up, and he felt it was really hot, it was really warm, didn't understand, and he didn't feel like it was moving, and he opened up the tarp, and he saw that he had landed on some sort of an island. He doesn't know where, doesn't know how long he was on, and the island it's warm, and he gets out and he thanks God, raises his hands to God. Thank you, God, you saved me. And there's a tree over there. There's some fruits. He eats stuff for the fruits, and there's a little stream there, and he drinks the water. He was in the ocean. It was all salty. Drinks the water. He's walking. Hello, hello. He yells out, "Is there anybody here? Hello." Nobody's there, and he's walking down. All of a sudden, he looks down on the ground, and what does he see? He sees that there's the stones. He can't believe it. They're diamonds. The stones, they're diamonds, they're rubies, sapphires, emeralds. He can't believe it. He makes his money in gems, precious gems. That's where his living is. He can't believe it. He looks. It happens to be that in his pocket, it still was, his little eyeglass. He looked and he saw these things are worth millions, pure diamonds. So he's taking these diamonds, he's putting in his pot, he's putting them in his shirt, and he's looking around for somewhere to put these diamonds. Something that's just a fortune. And suddenly he hears, that's it. And he's looking, and there's all these little children standing around, and they're all looking, and there's a couple of elders, of adults standing behind the children, and one of them says, "Excuse me, sir, can you tell me, what are you doing?" He said, it's nothing. I'm just, he says, "What are you picking up these stones for?" So he says, listen, let's keep this between me and you. I'm from a country that's called Poland, and these things are worth a fortune. These are diamonds. Don't tell anybody. The diamonds." The kids are looking at each other. They're saying, the men say, "What are you talking about? Look, the whole streets are filled with this diamond. They're nice looking, aren't they? They're nice looking, but they're not worth anything. Look, there's thousands, hundreds of thousands. The streets are full." He says, "Really? He's emptying out his pockets." "Yeah, I guess you're right. There's a lot of them." So then, what is worth? You have money here? Says, "Yo, sure, if we have currency." "What are you talking about? We have currency." "What's worth money here?" "Fish." Says, "Fish?" Says, "Yeah, fish, that's our currency. It's hard to catch a fish. You can take the fish, you can eat it. It's worth something. Actually, what can you do with a diamond? You can't eat it, you can't do anything with it. It doesn't last that long." Fish is worth. You catch fish, you get a fish, with a fish, you can buy a house, you can buy. So he says, "Really?" "Yeah." And so he stays there for a while, and he sort of gets accustomed to the place, and he asks the people if they know where Poland is, whether this, and it's like talking. Meanwhile, he's starting to get into this business, and he gets into the fish, and he's getting fish, and he catches fish, and he hires people to catch for him fish, and he has a little house for himself, and then he develops a way of preserving the fish, cooling the fish down, putting salt on them or whatever it is, cooling down the fish. So anyway, finally he has a nice house. He's got this. All of a sudden comes an idea in his mind. All this money I've got, I can make a boat. I can go back home. This is like he's there for like 2 years. So sure enough, he commissions people to build him a big boat, and he packs the boat with fish, and he puts fish in there with he has a cooling system, and he puts like salt on the fish, whatever it is, cooling. And he says goodbye to everybody. He gets a navigator, and he gets on the boat, and the navigator takes him. He pays him a good money, and they go and they travel. Or he gets a map, whatever it is. Anyway, so finally, after 2 weeks of travel, he sees the shore where he is, and he's getting closer to the shore, and the people on the shore are all waving to him and waving to him. He's always so happy to. As he gets closer, he sees that the people are going like this. They're not waving to him. Get away. It seems that all the fish that he had on the thing, that the refrigeration system that he had didn't work, and the salt also didn't exactly. He didn't have enough salt, but little by little the fish started rotting, but he didn't notice it because it happened gradually. In any case, all the fish were rotted out, and it was smelly. It was terrible. And they were telling him to go away, dump the fish in the middle of the sea. Someone's yelling, "Dump the fish in the sea! Get out of here!" So he had no choice. So he dumps all the fish out in the middle of the sea, and the boat, it still smells terrible. And he docks at some place where nobody even wants the boat, and he gets off and he goes home. His family is very happy to see him. Of course, he smells terrible, and he washes himself up, and his family is there. And suddenly he realizes that he wasted 2-3 years of his life, and he has absolutely nothing to see. And his children say, "Don't worry, Daddy. We're so happy that you were gone. That you came back, and we were so worried that you were gone." He said, "Where were you?" "I was on this island. I got a memento. I got a little memento from the island." And he takes on and takes a diamond, puts it on the table, another sapphire. He says, "These are some of the stones from the streets." His wife, "Where'd you get these things from?" He says, "That's stones from the ground. Here, look at it. Here's a red one. Here's a ruby." And he says, "These things are worth a fortune. These are worth. What are you talking about? The streets are filled with them. They're not worth. What do you mean?" And that's what suddenly he realizes that all of his paradigm suddenly changed. He got used to the idea that diamonds and rubies were nothing, and if the streets are full of them, what's really valuable is fish. And fish, after a while, they smell. They're terrible. They're awful, and they were worth absolutely nothing. But the diamonds, suddenly you realize now he's a rich person. What is to be learned from this? When we're in the physical world here, we think what is really worthwhile is money and fame and popularity and pleasure. And all these things are like rotten fish after a person dies. After a person dies, so his soul goes up to heaven. They say, "What do you got?" "Oh, I got this money." "You got money. I was famous." "Who cares about your fame?" I did a couple. You did a mitzvah. You did them. You put on tefillin. "Yeah, but what's the big deal?" "No, that's what's really valuable. You put on tefillin, you learn the word of Torah. You got diamonds, you got stuff." In other words, if we change our paradigms, we can realize that very easily we can be rich eternally. Do one more commandment, learn a little more Torah, do one more good deed, and you can make yourself and the whole world rich. See you tomorrow at 8 o'clock.